Hello everyone, it's my favorite time of the week. It's when we come together and we get to make a map with the tool. Absolutely love it. So today we're going to be creating a hangar bay with the newly released Sci-fi Battlemap style. I'm not going to waste any time, I'm just going to jump right into it. Now, usually when you first go to create a map, you turn on the grid to kind of set the scale that you want, right? Now, if sometimes having the grid on isn't enough, some people need a better visual to kind of better understand like what size should the rest of the stamps be. You could usually put down like a corp so that way you can kind of see the size of a human or a humanoid creature. That generally helps. Now, because we're making a hangar bay, it only seems appropriate to create a ship that will be used as kind of a scale reference. So I've put together this little ship, and if you're wondering how I put that together, we do have a stream about how to make ships, so go check that out on our YouTube channel. Now I'm going to turn the grid off because I don't really kind of need it at this very second, or if I will, I'll just turn it down to -5, so that way it's at the very bottom layer. I don't want to be able to see it hovering over all the stamps that I'm working on. And one thing that I really want to focus on is that we want to show that it's a hangar bay. So we're going to create like a hangar door or maybe a force field that is keeping the vacuum of space from coming in and blowing everyone out into space. So we're going to have that. So there'll be a little bit of perspective, shall we say, just a little backdrop to it. And the grid will kind of help to set that. Now, really, what you want to decide is do you want to have a really big hangar bay or do you want a small hangar bay? If you want a really big hangar bay, then your ship will be small, right? Then that way you can kind of show the grandiose or the size of the hangar bay. Otherwise, scale it up, and the bigger the ship is, the smaller the hangar bay is because it starts to fill up the canvas space. So just kind of think about that. Now, I only want the ship to be so large. I don't want it to be absolutely massive because I want players to move around in the hangar bay, interact with things that might be in the hangar bay, stuff like that. So we're going to make the ship fairly small. Hello, first-time gentlemen. Welcome to have you here, by the way. So what we'll do first is we'll turn on to snap to grid. If people don't know where snap to grid is, you just have to go down and then click that snap to grid toggle, and you'll notice that it's snapping to that grid. So very useful for a lot of things, aligning stamps, or if you want to use the grid to use the line and shape tools, it's there. So first, we should make the ground that it's going to exist on, and we're going to use the mask tool to do that. And I'm just going to use the shape rectangle, and I'm going to create the ground in which the ship, and this is great, this is why the snap to grid is so useful, because now I can just shape it, make sure it works, and then I'm going to go to add. Now I'm not going to use this texture, so I'll use a different one. We'll go over to the brush tool. We'll use this one for now. This is this kind of, let's see here, let's go to Sci-Fi Battlemaps. In that left panel, you'll see all the different types. You can go to like Human Alliance Fleet, so you'll see some stuff in here, Human Alliance. And then I'm going to use this one right here, this vented floor. I think that looks nice. I'll go ahead and select foreground and fill it and just see how that looks. I do want to make it a little bit bigger, so I think I'll change the size of it. So go to Advanced Settings, scroll down, increase the size. There we go. And I think about that looks good. We'll go ahead and fill it. And the reason why I'm making the ground with the add mode of the mask tool, or the FG, and then I'm going to use where the hangar bay is going to be the BG. It's so that way I can paint them separately without bleeding onto the floor. So there's a reason why I did it that way. The next thing now is to create the hangar door or field or whatever it might be. And so we'll go to that shape tool first. And I'm going to go to the polygon shape, and I'm going to go with 8 sides. And then it's still set to that polygon. I'm going to turn merge shape off for now. And then I'm going to use a different stroke for this. So we'll go through here. Let's see, go into the catalog. We'll go Sci-Fi Battlemaps. I think this one right here will work, this sleek metal railing. That should work. And what I'll do is I'll use the grid as a guide. And what I recommend too is to switch over to preview, and this way it won't automatically set it. So this way I can change it like this while I'm editing it, and I'm going to line it up with that grid. There we go. And then I do feel that these corners here, this looks too much, so we'll end up changing that. First, let's just go to add. We can step back and you can kind of see what the door is going to look like. And then what I'll do here is I'll go over to Shape Tool and then go over to the nodes, and I'll just change the nodes. So I'll go in, and what I'll do is I'll count how many spaces from this point right, this node to this node right here, and I've got 5. Let's go with 4. Let's do that. There we go. And the same thing, I'll just move this over. This is the beauty of the grid, right? You can now shape and move things, and this makes more sense because I want enough room for a ship to get through. If it's like this, then it will look like there's not much room. So now that we have that, now we can go ahead and choose either to put a force field or you want to put a door texture on there. I like the idea of a force field. And so we'll just go Fill, Texture, open up the texture catalog. I'm going to type in alpha. And the reason why I'm using an alpha texture is because I want to see the texture behind the force field. And there is an industrial texture, this one right here, called Gritty Yellow Warning Area. I'm going to select that. But I don't really like the yellow. So what I'll do instead is go into the stroke, or not stroke, sorry, here. And I'm going to change the hue, maybe to like a blue color. Maybe that would work better. Let's go with that. And then I can also change the fill size. Now, the smaller that you get, you'll notice that there's kind of squares. It's because you're scaling the texture way down, but I actually like that look. I think it looks interesting. And I might want to consider changing the opacity too, because I want to be able to see something in the background. So if I go over to here and choose opacity, there we go. And so now we have a force field there. The next thing I'll do is fill in the texture around the door. I think this texture right here works just fine. And because this right here is BG as well as this right here, I'm going to turn my softness off and just going to make sure it's set to background and then just fill it in like this. Okay, there we go. All right, and what we're going to do next is I'm going to use a texture for space to fill into that part right there. There's a space texture right here. I'll go ahead and just fill it in. This way you can kind of see nebulas and stars and stuff. So that way it makes it clear, like, hey, there's a force field. You can see space behind it. There we go. Okay. All right, let's take a step back, and we're going to turn the grid off for right now. Let's turn it off. We don't really need it this very second. There we go. So you can see the space. You can see this. Now we just got it started, so there's still a lot to do. Let's go ahead and choose the line shape. And we'll kind of create the wall section that's going to be right here. Because that grid is on, I can just go all the way across, enter, right there. And then now you can see there's enough room for that spaceship to kind of get through. Let me push it up a couple layers. There we go. So the spaceship has room to go inside, in and out like that, okay? We'll center the ship for now. Normally I try to avoid some things being perfectly symmetrical because you have that polygon and as the door, there's a lot of symmetry going on. We are going to be doing things to kind of break up that symmetry inside of the hangar bay. Let's create this sense of vertical lines going towards the gate, right? Maybe conveyor belts that hold the ship or pull the ship in. So we'll go back to our shape tool and I'm going to use this vent. Now, technically this vent is not meant to be like a conveyor belt or anything, but the beauty of it is that you can use your imagination, right? So I'll press enter and I'm going to change the stroke size so it's nice and big. There we go. And what I'm trying to do again is kind of create this illusion that there are these lines kind of going like this. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to change we've already got set to luminosity. Perfect. Let's also change some of that line work. It seems pretty dark. So let's change the contrast a little bit because what I want it to do is I want it to match a little bit with the texture underneath. So I'll change the contrast and I'll change the brightness a little bit. There we go. And now it should match a little bit. There we go. That looks good. Let's take it down one. There we go. And I'll put another one, copy paste right here. Now the ship that I've created uses is using layer shadows. And so a stamp beneath it won't show the shadow. So let me move it over. You can see there's a shadow underneath. It goes away. So what I'll do is I'll end up flattening that, but I'm going to make it a little bit darker to make like it's a kind of in a recess. And so we'll select it, bring the brightness down. There we go. And then I'm going to flatten it to the FG. Just go over to flatten, FG, and then the shadow will be over it. Because what I want is that shadow to show up. It's going to make it look like the ship is hovering. Okay, so there we have that. Now we want to create some more walls and some more machinery and equipment, as you would kind of expect. And there's this nice ship right here. We can go into, I'll show you where it's at. Let's open it up. Go into Human Alliance Fleet, and there's a nice texture right here with Cargo Bay Wall. That's perfect. Let's use that. What I can do is copy and paste this, and then just go in and select that cargo bay. And what I want to do is I'm going to desaturate it because I don't really like that color. I'm going to use mostly gray. I'm trying to show metal, metallic. And there's even a little bit of perspective on it, so that's perfect. So I'll go up to the catalog. I'm going to change the saturation, bring the contrast down, and bring the brightness up a little bit, not too much. And then we're just going to go place it right over here like this, and I'll make it a little bit bigger. So I'll change the stroke size. There we go. And all I have to do is just copy and paste it and then just flip. There we go. And now we have kind of these walls right here. And I see this one right here. Move that over, move this over a little bit. There we go. Okay. All right, that looks good. Oh, just move it over incrementally with the arrow keys. There we go. All right, so we've got some walls right here. We have this sense of vertical lines leading up to the hangar bay door. So we're doing all right so far. Let's keep going. We're going to want to add a lot more things as we go. Let's try adding in some walls around almost the whole thing except for that lower part. So I'll go ahead and pick a texture of my choice. I like this one right here, or a stamp. And I'll start with just going like this. Oopsie, that's a line. We'll go back to shape. There we go. Put it up against like this. I'm going to add it. There we go. And I'm going to change the stroke size. And I want to take it down. There we go. Like this. Change the scale a little bit. Bring it up. There we go. And I'm going to desaturate it a little bit too because that blue doesn't seem to really work that well. So I will change that. Let's just move it incrementally. There we go. Oh, bring it down a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to desaturate it. Okay, so Hangar Bay is slowly coming together. All right, 59 changes, plenty. Okay, so now that we have that part, we might want to consider adding in a couple more elements. Like, is there a location for personnel to scan the ship, work on the ship? Is there like a command post right there? What, is there like some type of a sentry? Like, is this going to have some kind of protection? So we'll have to add in some of that stuff. I'm going to go ahead and scale this down a little bit. There we go. All right, I'm going to flip it too. There we go. All right, I'm going to turn snap to grid off. I don't really need it on right now. There we go. So I'm going to use a table as kind of a platform. And there's a nice table in here, right here. This looks good. And I'm going to use a different type of shape because I see a lot of straight rectangular shapes in here. So I'm going to put this right here, and this is going to act as a kind of bay in which people walk onto. They can look over the ship. It's supposed to be higher up, and so using shadows to make things pop up, to make it look like it's higher up, bring the intensity and the shadow. And you notice that it looks like it's up now. And I'm just going to desaturate a little bit because it's such a different blue. There we go. Just a little bit. Bring the brightness up a little bit. And then you have this nice kind of platform right here. Put it right there. It's parallel to the ship. It's going to act as like a sentry or where the controls are, anything like that. Let's also throw in some stairs. So, because you have to get onto it. You could have it be on hydraulics, so it goes up and down. But I think what we'll do is we'll put a staircase on it. So I'll put a little staircase right here. There we go. That works great. And then you have a staircase that goes up onto that platform. You could even put another one right here if you wanted to. It's up to you. I'm only going to put one because I want the other side to be where maybe some mechanical stuff are. So we'll do that. That looks good. That looks good. Let's go ahead and keep adding Thank you very much, Kreutz777. Appreciate that. Okay, let's go and throw on some console stuff. So throw on console. Now, because you have a docking bay like this, or a hangar bay, you're probably going to need some controls that maybe control the force field right here. So maybe you can have the one control panel right here, and you can put in maybe another control panel right here. So one control panel is maybe trying to access the computers of the ship that came in. Maybe it controls a security port, whatever it might be. You want to have some kind of console, something that your players can interact with, so they can maybe they have gravity boots on, where they're sucked to the ground, and then maybe the enemies inside the hangar bay don't. So you can access that panel. They get sucked into the vacuum of space, and you get rid of your enemies, right? So think about what's going to make the combat interesting. Throwing in controls. It's sci-fi, cyberpunk, whatever it might be. Those controls can do different things. Maybe maybe there's an alarm system that you have to deactivate. Maybe you have to hack it. All those kind of fun things. So throw those in there. I'm also going to throw in some railing, because I don't want anyone to fall off of it. So we'll put together some railing for it. Put some railing here. Put another one right here. And let's put some smaller ones right here. There we go. Small one right here, and then another one right there. One more right there. All right, so now you have some nice railing there. That should keep anyone who works there from falling off. And it's gold, and it also matches a little bit with the console. There's a little bit of orangish, goldish color, and so that railing matches in with it. And blue and yellow or orange kind of work well together, so that looks good. So now we have that platform, and that's perfect. And you can group everything together and label them, which is generally a good idea. I'm going to lock this. Let's go ahead and select this right here, just this one. Create group. And we're going to call it a sentry or control platform, I think should be fine. Okay. This way you can see where these things are. I have a ship, control platform, and I'm going to lock that and lock the ship. And then I'm going to go ahead and select everything, all the walls and everything. I'm going to create a group. I'm just going to call it Hangar Bay Walls. What's this shape right here? Ooh, we've already locked that. Let me undo that. Okay, let's unlock this shape, and then we can create group, and we'll call it Walls and Floor. This way, I don't accidentally select anything I don't want to select. I've locked it and labeled it. So everything is nice and neatly organized. And you should be doing that too, because it's so much easier than scrolling through 1,000 objects to find what you're looking for. Grouping and labeling is a great way to keep track of things, and you don't feel discouraged and stuff. So always remember to kind of do that. Very helpful. So now we have that. We can start adding in some more things. One thing that's really great is that maybe you want to add some more details to the bay. Maybe you want to throw in like a mechanical arm, because maybe the mechanical arm removes parts, or maybe it, comes out from the wall and then picks up things. Who knows, right? So I think a mechanical arm might be a good idea. Let's go walls, floor, because I want to work within that group. Then I'm going to type in just arm, and there's a nice arm right here. This is perfect. I'm going to place it right here, and it's going to kind of make it look like, let's push down. There we go. I'll desaturate it so it kind of matches in. And you can have it facing into the bay itself, or maybe it's not activated yet and the arm will come out. So it's up to you how you want it to be. But this will also help to break up a lot of the symmetry that we have. This little platform right here broke up that symmetry. I think I'll have the arm be retracted. It'll be within like this, so that arm will come out. It will do things, whatever. So that's nice to have. Let's also throw in maybe a pipe or a tube that connects to the ship. Maybe the ship's trying to fuel up, so we need to create a fueling station. So let's put the arm over here, and then let's create a fueling station. And we can go into the industrial section, and there are some nice parts in industrial. Just go over into the left panel, click industrial, and there's some nice industrial stuff in here that we can use. This stuff right here looks good. This right here looks good. I'm going to use this one right here. I think this looks good. Actually, let's use this one. There we go. And I'm going to fit it in nice and neatly right here, right there. And we'll desaturate it a little bit. There we go. Okay, that looks good. And then we'll take a pipe. I'm going to use a red pipe for now. And I'll go ahead and use this. And I'm just going to have the pipe kind of snaking over to there. Okay, and I kind of want the pipe to be, there we go, like this. And we can even use something to make it look like it's connected into it, because you notice that it looks like it's just underneath of the walls, and we don't really want that. So we'll probably use some stamps to kind of make it look like that it's not doing that. So let's go ahead and select this one, and I'll put it right here like this, so it looks like it's going into that piece right there. So this is like the fueling station. Now you could add other elements too. Maybe you wanted to have a hardwired connection to the nav computer or whatever it might be, or you're transferring data. Let's say that your players have maybe one of their quests is to chart an unknown region of space or something, and they've come back with that information and they want to hook up to the computer of the ship that they're in or docking in. So we might want to do something like that. So let's go back. Maybe some wires would be a good idea. Right here, there's some wires right here. It says wire bundle. That'll work perfect. You know, it kind of looks like it's a bunch of wires. Maybe we can hook it up to a wall somewhere. And because there you have this platform right here, it only kind of makes sense to put it on this side, the other side, the left side. So let's do that. And we're going to want to create a space for that as well, of course. So let's go ahead and create that and put it right there. There we go. So now we have the wire for the, like a nav computer. Oops, let's go up. And maybe we want to put something there as well. So we could just use another one of these things like this, or we could use another piece of equipment. The industrial stuff looks good. There's a lot of stuff here that you can kind of use. There's stuff right here. You could use this right here. Lots of different things that you can use. Maybe some kind of computer. Maybe we can go back to console if you want. And then we can use one of these if we wanted to. Maybe you want to put the console up against here like this. So it looks like it's a computer kind of leading to it. We can desaturate it if we want. Up to you. So now that you have a fueling station, you have a nav computer or a link to your ship. So you have those things. We're going to 102 changes. Let's go ahead and make some saves. So we'll save it. And then we'll add in some final elements to it because we're about halfway through the stream here. We're going to end up throwing in some details, maybe some stuff hanging from the ceiling, some tubes, some wires. We're going to throw down some filters, maybe some light sources. You notice that the ship has some glowing red light sources here. We should also put light sources wherever you see light. This blue console right here, it has a little bit of light, but light would also be going down on the ground over here and over here. So we'll be using that as well. And we maybe want to throw in some more details, and we maybe want to throw in maybe some caution stuff. So we'll go back into industrial. And there's these nice stamps right here that we could use. You could use any of these things right here. You could use these. Well, let's use these ones. I think this looks good. And we'll put it on the ground like this. Let's go back to walls and floor so that it's on there. I'm going to put them in this space right here. Let's go down. There we go. Put another one right here. And another one right there. There we go. And then I'll just copy, paste. And I think the other one should go right here. There we go. And I'm going to flip them as well because I want them to be facing a different direction. There we go. Take it down one. And this kind of looks like the caution tape. Like, hey, look, this is where the ship is supposed to go, right? The caution tape kind of guides the ship on how it should go in. So that's why we're using some of that. Okay. All right. Let's take a step back and take a look at it. All right. So that looks good so far. Let's keep adding stuff. I think I'm also going to fix this large wall right here. I'm going to push it up because I want it to go all the way up, but I notice that there's a wall right here at the bottom, so I can go in and just remove that with a portal. Go like this, and we'll remove it like this. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Okay. That's put together. Let's throw in just a couple things to decorate up here on the top. Like we could put some glowing lights or whatever. I want to make sure there's some light sources. One way to make something look more dynamic and more interesting is to throw in light sources. So we'll type in light, and I'm going to do it in Sci-fi Battlemap. Let's just close it out. Make sure I got everything because I'm clicked industrial district. So let's type in light. And let's use the red ones. I think red should look good. And let's just put one right there. Oops, we'll go up a layer. And I realize that it's not on the walls and floors. That will happen. Sometimes you'll accidentally log or accidentally go out of a group and then place it outside of the group. That's okay. Don't worry about it. Just select all of everything, copy, paste, delete, and then go within the group and copy and paste it. And that way you don't have to kind of redo things so much. Let's put one in this corner and then another one in this corner. And I think that should add some interesting lighting in there. I like that. That looks good. Let's throw in some wires hanging from the ceiling. I think that would look interesting. And I'm not going to put it within the wall group. So I'll go into draw and we'll go ahead and use the same red one, but this time I'll desaturate it so that it's that color. And then I'm just going to take it and just what I want to do is, because there's this backdrop right here, I want to have some things overlapping. One thing you don't want to do is have like the wire hanging right here because the ship would hit that coming in. But putting it on the side over here like this is a great way to kind of add a little bit of extra interesting. So this kind of looks like there's pipes and stuff that maybe control maybe pressure or whatever it might be that affects the shield wall or whatever it might be. So a little bit of hanging stuff there is nice. And it's always good to have a little bit of tubes maybe coming out of the walls and stuff. And we'll also throw in some additional control stuff as well. So let's throw in, I like this set right here. This is nice. We'll place it right here. I'm going to have it just go right at the end right here like this. And it's kind of nice because what I'm trying to do is create a little bit of overlap. Because there's this platform right here, a ship obviously isn't going to come in on the far right side. It's going to go into the middle. So it's okay to have something right here, and then it overlaps the bay doors, and so that way it kind of looks more interesting. And I do recommend using some kind of console or control thing there. So right here, this little keypad should work fine. We'll scale it down and just place it right here. There you go. So now I have a little control console. We can even put it right there. I think that'll work just fine. There we go. And maybe we'll create some tubes that kind of go over as well. So I'll take a pipe, put it right here like this. Oopsie, let's try doing it like that. There we go. And I'll push it down a layer. There we go. I think just like that should look good. There we go. Okay. So you have a little pipe right there, and I'll make it a little bit smaller. There we go. Nice. And streams are roughly anywhere between 40 minutes and an hour. So we're going to be done here or in the next 12 minutes or so. I'm just throwing on some final details. Let's go ahead and throw on the light sources. And sometimes actually I like to turn on, actually let's add a couple more things on this wall. This wall looks kind of bare. So why don't we add in some mechanics on that side as well. So I'll put one right here. I don't want it to be at the exact same spot. Maybe put it right here. There we go. And there's some more equipment and machinery there. And then of course you can always throw in crates and barrels. And the reason why that's so important is because it's a docking bay, right? Or a hangar bay. You're going to expect that maybe whatever this ship is carrying, you're going to see some of that. And it also works as, it works really well as a cover or using it to throw at an enemy. So just scale it to where around the right size. So I'm going to look right here. It's about this size. You can fit a couple of these crates within this ship. You can go down a little bit more if you want. Let's go to 40. And I'm just going to place a couple just lying on the ground like this. Just put a couple over here. All right. Okay. And I'm also going to change the shadow so it's a little bit heavier. So I'll just center the shadows by getting rid of the offsets. Intensity, there we go. And then in that way it kind of looks like, there we go. And then I'm gonna maybe set this up to where if players go into a kind of combat, then maybe they can hide behind these. So what I'll do is I'll maybe create maybe like a semicircle of these things like this, kind of a strategic advantage here. And then players can now hide behind this, shoot at people that are coming towards them. You can copy paste. You can put a couple more crates over here if you want. Copy paste. I try not to make them all perfectly lined up. I like to rotate them just a little bit. Just a little bit. So that way it's not perfect. So you have a little bit of crates there. I think that works perfect. Okay. Let's go ahead and add some filters, and then we'll add light sources, and then we're going to call it good. So let's throw on filters, and there are a lot of different filters that you can use. There is the ones that come with sci-fi already: dust, polluted air, sparks, heavy rain. Most of this stuff doesn't really work for a hangar bay. So first I'll maybe choose a different color filter that I want, and that depends on the feel and the atmosphere that you want. I can kind of go through a couple of them. You can kind of see what it looks like. I kind of like the winter one a little bit. It kind of gives it that bluish feel to it, but it's a little too much. So I'll bring winter down, and that way there's kind of a bit of a blue on top, and that's kind of nice. And I might even want to consider throwing in a, let's see here, maybe some kind of vignette as well might work good. Oopsie, let's delete that real quick. My bad. Dust, heavy rain, vignette, landscape. There we go. This will kind of make the corners a little bit darker with that vignette. And that way it will put the focus more onto the center of the thing because of that. Let's also go in and grab our light sources. So just type in light. Now, one thing I can say about the red light sources is that they are very strong, very powerful. So what I would recommend doing is just to drop the opacity a little bit so it's not too overpowering. And now that we have that, make sure to just put the light sources on top right here, one there. And then we'll also use this one. Now it's a yellow, looks kind of yellowish color. So we'll just go to U and make it blue. I'm gonna put it right there, copy, paste, put another one right there. Now you have some light sources, and you see the atmosphere is starting to come together a little bit by adding those filters, throwing in light sources, all works good. Let's also throw on a clarity filter so that way it looks kind of nice. I'll just go plus, and it should immediately give me a clarity filter. A little too much clarity, so I'll bring it down a little bit. There we go. And then we'll take a step back. And I think this looks pretty good. We might want to throw in more things to kind of hide this, but overall you get the general idea. Throwing in the hangar door, force field, it can be blast doors that shut, like literally a material instead of some energy field or whatever it might be. And then once you've done that, you want to make sure that the lines kind of go emanate away from the door so that it kind of looks like the spaceship is following these guided lines into the hangar bay very slowly. And then you have this crew on top of this platform who are helping to navigate the pilot and the crew into that hangar bay. Now, you don't have to put it onto the side. You could extend this and put it at the bottom. You could put an entire control area down at the bottom, but that would have taken a lot longer. So to keep it easy, I just used the table for the platform, some stairs to get up to it, and then some controls and some railing. There are so many ways. You could have had an entire control section on one side of the hangar bay if you wanted to. It's up to you. So all that stuff kind of comes together, and it makes it look more interesting. Just you have to think about the utility when you are putting together a map. I'm going to save this and we can continue with this. You got to think about the utility, right? Things in a hangar bay, you would expect a ship, control platform, fueling station, electrical plugins for maybe hooking up the mainframe of the big ship and the small ship together, a mechanical arm that moves maybe equipment or picks up a ship and moves it to a charging station or whatever it might be, right? Or controls that open up the bay doors, or maybe the ship, maybe the console takes control of the ship. So many things that you can kind of do. So just think about all the things that you would expect to find inside of an area, and then that's the things that you can start piecing together with stamps to put it together. So it's really just important to remember the utility, and that will help a lot. Once you get utility, then you can start focusing on the artistic part, which is how to put everything together, both with utility and then making it look interesting and something that your players can interact with. All right, well, I think that is it for the Hangar Bay. I did create another one earlier. I'll share that link in the video when we put it on YouTube. We have another one coming up next week on Wednesday. I'm excited for that one. So I'll see you all there. Also, I do a masterclass stream over on our Discord. I do that on every other Monday. So you can find that in the Discord events. If you're not a member of our Discord, I totally recommend that you join. Incredible community, very helpful. Everyone there is so nice, so go join. And then I look forward to seeing you all next Wednesday, or some of you on Masterclass Monday, where we do more power user stuff. So some of you kind of already familiar with the tool and you want to do something besides kind of beginner stuff, that's fine. We have that Masterclass Discord class on Monday. So go definitely check that out. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you all. Please stay safe and healthy, and merry map making. I'll see you all soon, okay? Auf Wiedersehen, everyone.